Hello all over the world. This morning we are bringing you Singapore artists, fresh from Singapore, individuals who have written their own songs, because those are the rules of Jukebox Judgement. I'm Dawn Parry, hosting the show today, and I think it's going to be a good one, an interesting one. And the premise of this show, of course, is that all artists have to come forward with their own songs, and many produce their songs themselves. Many have incredibly good record producers and some less good record producers, but we have world-class record producers on this show, Jukebox Judgement. And let's start with Steve Lillywhite. Good morning, Steve Lillywhite.
Good morning, Dawn, and good morning, Singapore. I hope everyone's having a lovely day.
And of course, we've got UK listeners. We've got listeners all over the world going on here. But Steve, you're coming in from Bali at the moment.
Yep. I live in Bali, and I had a wonderful time in Singapore producing a band there called the Sam Willows, who it was the beginning of a very good career of theirs. They became absolutely fantastic, and they were very nice.
Steve, very nice people. You've worked with some of you've made people into stars with your record production, from U2 through to Morrissey, to so many artists.
Yeah. Well, I've worked with a lot of great artists. Yeah, I've been very lucky, had a long career, and long may it continue.
Wonderful, and we're very proud to have you on the show. And Charlie Foskett, if you would like to unmute yourself, please, and just give us a very just mention some names you've worked with, because there's so many, from Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, all sorts.
Well, you're mentioning him for me. Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, all sorts. Yeah, I work with all sorts. I really enjoyed working with all sorts, and I'm booked to work with all sorts again very soon. I look forward to it.
Listeners, I should say, Charles has worked with very, very many, very world-renowned artists, and has certainly turned some of them into household names as well. Barry Upton, would you like to give us a very quick rundown of who you've worked with?
Yes, Parry Upton here in Thailand, and not far away from Steve in Bali, but I've been to Singapore many times and performed there. I did a special gig there with John Otway once, and that was real fun. And I've worked over the bridge in Johor, so I know Singapore very, very well, and looking forward to hearing some Singapore artists. I'm probably best known for the group Steps, and that they're still together after 26 or 27 years, which is just amazing. I picked the right people for the job. And originally I was in a group called Brotherhood of Man. We had 3 number 1 hits, and I've produced all sorts of artists, and I love the diversity.
Of course, and there's so much diversity in music, of course. And you're coming in today from Thailand, from Pattaya.
Yes, where the sun is shining and everything is tickety-boo.
Well, I cannot tell you how much rain there is here right now. I'm just outside Bristol in the UK. Craig Leon, another world-renowned record producer. Craig.
Yeah, coming to you from deepest Oxfordshire, actually Buckinghamshire, but that's okay.
Yeah. And Craig, of course, you've worked with Blondie and, again, just The Fall, Killing Joke. There are just so many bands that you've worked with.
Yeah, a lot. It'll take a long time to go through the whole list, but in pop, the older bands were Blondie, the Ramones, and such, and Britain, The Fall. Lot more classical and electronic stuff going back to the 70s as well, parallel to all of that. Luciano Pavarotti, a few others like that.
Okay.
London Orchestra, whatever.
This is wonderful.
I've never been to Singapore. They've played some of my classical things in Singapore with the orchestra there, but I've never been.
Well, this is wonderful.
But I would like a Zircon Lounge album if anybody out there would like to send one to me.
Oh, yes.
Original, please. Okay.
Okay. Well, I was going to say that we're very fortunate. We have a very broad range of record producers here who are into all sorts of different styles and genres. Right, now, I think we should move along and have a listen to the first of our artists. And let's have a little look here. This is Rene, R-E-N-E, and the track is called, have you all got pens and paper? Yes, you have. Good. And if you could make a note of all of this. So the band is Rene, as in Rene. And the track is called Better Than to Brood. Better Than to Brood, and that is Rene. And Rene is an independent Singapore songwriter from Singapore, obviously, and her music is inspired by pop, rock and indie genres, and she weaves relatable lyrics, rich vocals and catchy guitar lines to create her signature sound. She writes about such themes as self-reflection, personal relationships and societal commentary, and that's Rene. So let's start with Charlie Foskett. Would you like to unmute yourself, please?
Yes, indeed. I'd like that. It was, plenty of long reverbs. Guitars kind of got a bit swamped there. But I like the overall vibe. I like the tune, with the dynamics, the stops and starts, stopped and started where they should have done. And the white noise, took me out on the ocean. And generally, kind of floating around with a voice. Cool, pretty cool.
Okay. And Steve Lillywhite.
I think excuse me, I have a slightly funny throat today, but it started off very nicely, had a nice guitar riff. It set up the whole sound of the song, and I was listening to it, and it kept me going. I think if there was something that I could could look for that I didn't find in there was the killer hook. I didn't hear the one hook that would make me go, you know, you said this before, Dawn. You said like the earworm or something like that. I've never heard anyone use that term before, but I've heard you use it. Just that little thing that just takes it apart and takes it away. But definitely something worth checking in. And I think if she pushes herself a little bit, she could just. And I didn't really even hear that. I don't know, Barry. Barry's our lyric expert here, you know, but I'm not sure if I even heard the song title in the lyric. It didn't, or it certainly didn't jump out to me as being, where was the chorus? It was okay, but it didn't quite hit it for me. But definitely worth checking her out again.
Lovely.
Keep up at it with. Is it Reen, or even I would maybe could say Renee or Renee?
It could be Renee, but there's no circumflex on anything there. So
there isn't, but they don't have that in the English language, you know. Which they speak in Singapore.
Of course, I know. I grew up in Singapore, of course, and my mum was a pop singer over in Singapore. I know, but maybe the Singaporeans listening right now don't realise that. But yes, absolutely. Barry Upton, thank you, Steve. Barry Upton.
Yeah, well, lyrically, I agree with Steve. I would have liked to have heard the title come out really and grab you, and it didn't really. So that's something that maybe could be worked on. I think this is almost a really good radio song, and it's got a great sound to it. It's a good song. If I was going to make it even better, I would work on the phrasing of when they say walking away. The phrasing wasn't quite right. It wasn't quite on. And so I'd work on that just a little bit on the early ones. It seemed to get better as the song went on. Also, the riff, which Steve was looking for, he's right. It's unclear, and it needs that bit of music to sort of come out and grab you just a bit more. I think a little less reverb, as Charles was talking about, would help the music and make the music come out more. But this is very close to being an excellent radio record.
Craig Leon.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, it is close. It's got some really good ideas on it. Grabs your attention from the beginning, which is what's really good, and it does create its own atmosphere. There's a little bit too much reverb for me as well, but actually, if you could control that reverb and the balances between everything that's in it, where it makes a nice wash, that's kind of nice. But I would have put the vocal in another place to actually hear it a little bit better. There's some good harmonies on there as well. I would have made a big, again, these are little things, but sometimes a lot of little things add up to getting it right to the next level. You need hooks in there. There's a guitar hook at the end, actually, but it's under all the white noise and everything. And you need a riff like that in the beginning or somewhere to actually catch your attention.
Yes.
And other than that, the Beach Boys type harmony in the breakdown is really good. And I pick up the drums after that as well. They're just staying in the same beat, and I would get them going a little more. But that's just me. We all had some really good ideas on it. But the thing is that it provoked really good ideas because it's a really good song and a good record.
Thank you very much, Craig Leon. From a radio airplay perspective, as well as from a production perspective, I think what everybody has identified is that it's a track that you could play on the radio, but there are a few little things that I think it could really benefit from as well. Less drowning in reverb. That really is a huge amount of reverb. And I think because it's all the way through the song, it causes a bit of ear fatigue at the same time, as well as swamping a lot of things like the hook, which Craig was just talking about. And to be fair, in my head, I can still hear that da 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 da, the whatever it was, a guitar that got drowned a bit, or it's something there. But it's a shame that wasn't, as everybody has said, and as Steve said right at the start as well, the actual hook in the chorus, that didn't come out and grab any of us. And what all of us are saying here, Reen or Renee, is that you need to sort of, every single track that we hear needs to kind of leave its imprint on us so that we're still humming it afterwards. And it's not quite there yet, but it's not far away. Right, let's move on, shall we, to the next artist. This is Bellied Star. Bellied as in Belllied, new word, star. And the track is called If You Mind. Well, that was Bellied Star with If You Mind. And I think we were all bouncing around in our seats there. I could see on the screen here. Steve Lillywhite, would you like to go first?
Well, I have to say, you know, the song You Really Got Me by the Kinks and All of the Day, All of the Night, they all have the same riff. This is like taking that riff and making it their own.
Yes.
This was a great guitar riff. It actually was really, really intelligent. It sounds a little dumb in the way that they play it and they do it, but there's some brains there. There's someone there who made a really good riff. You got sort of Kurt Cobain style vocals, which is not unattractive. And, you know, the recording is a little bit on the amateur side, but it has an energy. It has a, you know, and it's from Singapore. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, it's great to have music like this coming out of Singapore. I love the name of the band, Bellied Star. Yes. I think it's great. And honestly, I hope they find enough places in Singapore to play live, because this band could really kick off live and you could have a great night out at a Bellied Star gig.
Yes, and of course, the purpose of this as well is to give Singapore artists international exposure, which of course today they're getting.
Yes, no, very. I loved it. I thought it had an energy. It had a lot of spirit and a lot of joie de vivre.
Ah, j'aime la joie de vivre. And Charles Foskett.
As soon as it started, I just thought, oh man, tune your guitar in. It was kind of slightly out of tune. It was kind of niggling me. I wanted to get in there and just wind one of his machine heads up. But generally, as Steve said, the riff throughout kind of got me going eventually, pretty quickly. And obviously the guys are fans of Kurt Cobain because I could hear all that happening. But I just kind of got fed up with the same old dynamic. Here's the chorus, step on the distortion, leap around. And it did sound like it was recorded in a garage and a bit amateur, but there's no wrong with that. If you're producing the energy and the magic, record the damn thing in a garage. It should come through anyway. By the end of it, I was kind of, pre-hooked. But I'd like somebody to throw a bit of money at them and really bring it up a bit. But what Steve's saying, the great overall of recording all kinds of stuff, I don't know, maybe I've lost my sort of teenage hat. Maybe that flew off in the wind years ago.
I'm sure not. I think it's probably more to do with the fact that you are a little bit of a perfectionist with the very fine-tuned everything. But I feel very strongly here that the energy that this band have captured and that Bellied Star have managed to put out there for us is remarkable. It is fantastic. To me, if somebody said to me, is that a London band, that's just played in one of the iconic venues in London, I'd believe it. Barry Upton.
Here in Southeast Asia, there are some amazing bands that can play, yes, and that you don't have to compare them to London or anything like that. They just are good. They're good musicians. Lots of great musicians in Southeast Asia. I particularly like the intro because it sounded like a Telecaster. I'm a sucker for a good Telecaster riff, and I enjoyed that. And as Steve said, it did remind you of that kind of early Kinks type thing, which, as you know, I'm a sucker for. Then the vocal came in. It was too low for me. I was struggling to hear what he said. So from a radio point of view, that's got to be brought up or compressed a little bit and just brought up into the mix. Then there was the Green Day-ish type extra distorted guitar on the chorus. That always works, or very often works anyway. But the vocal was rushing a little bit on the chorus. That's anything. So these, again, are just refinements that you need to make. Generally, in a world of AI and stuff that's produced to the max, sometimes it's good to hear something that's a little bit loose and is very real. And so I'm sure that's what these guys are going for. And I just think a few tweaks here and there, and that could be a good radio record.
Okay, and Craig.
Yeah, this is the kind of record. It started out as the kind of record I always liked even before I was producing records. It reminded me a lot of those great guitar riff records like Steve was talking about. It reminded me more of one from Australia called Daddy Cool that had one of the best guitar riffs in history that I actually called the guy up and asked him how you could play it. And he told me about it, how to do it. But in any case, it needs just a couple of things. I would record it more naturally to get it more effective. I think the verses should be a little bit harder. They were a little bit murky compared to what was going on. I wouldn't have had so much definition of obviously affected, distorted guitar. I would have recorded something like a bunch of Marshalls in their studio. The Marshall studio down the street from my place, and it would sound really good with about 6 of those going instead of the single distorted thing. But other than that, I mean, it had a lot going for it. I mean, I'm very impressed with both of these so far, and the thing that's really neat, it's one of my pet theories that you take American or British or rock music or whatever it is, and you send it to places where it wasn't part of the culture initially. People adapt to it in a different way. But what's really neat about these is both that we've heard is they're both adapting in a different way that isn't necessarily local to their area. it's actually going in this genre. But I'll
Yes.
shut up. We need to hear music.
Okay, well, the thing is that we have many artists to get through, and so we're going to have to shorten our comments just a little bit, I think, as we go along. But from my perspective, an airplay perspective, as well as imagining what this band are like live, I've got to be honest, I loved it. The energy level was just, they really captured it. I sort of quite liked that little bit of lo-fi, that 60s Kinks feel that Steve was talking about earlier, and that you mentioned just there again, Craig. I also liked the lyrics. This was a clever song, really well put together, and Anyway, let's move along to the next band. Oh, by the way, sorry, I should very quickly say as well that Bellied Star, you forgot to put a little introduction about yourselves in. You said, here's a short introduction about us, but didn't put it in. But basically, Bellied Star consider themselves a hard-hitting alternative rock band in Singapore. So thank you very much for that, Bellied Star. Right, now, the track I'm going to play next is from Hijack Haley. And it's called Counterparts.
Does he wanna know what it feels like on the other side? Does he really care? Oh, it goes. Click on my conscience, I can anticipate your moves. I said believe it. Click on my conscience, I can anticipate your moves. Let me inside to open my eyes through from this side. Give me a ride, it's a long way to get home. I feel my body's leaving. I came for the fact that you sniffed from me. It's always the same old harmless reaction, but I feel my body's falling, fall out of the things I did, but it's still coming around here. It's just my replacement.
Hijack Haley, and that was Counterpart. And so Hijack Haley are obviously from Singapore, and they are an indie rock band formed in 2017. And the band features Terence on lead vocals and guitarist, Munir, who's the lead guitarist, and Randy, who's the bassist, and Russell, the drummer. And their music encompasses an eclectic mix of stadium-rich sounds, blending rhythm guitar tones and heavy melodious leads, a dirty low-end bass, and thunderoo. Anyway, and drum fills. Sorry, thunderoo drum fills, that is. I haven't heard thunderoo before. Sounds almost Australian. And I have to say, the chaps do look rather good as well. Well, on that note then, Steve, Lillywhite.
Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, this is a level up in sonic quality compared to Bellid Star. And they're, they come a little bit more from maybe say the Oasis camp than from the more indie rock thing. But it actually really works. Almost works. It's amazing. All three songs that we've heard so far today are all so varied, and they all have great things about them that almost hit the mark. There's moments in this. I love the energy. The playing is fantastic. I think the singer is really good. I'm not quite sure whether his place in the mix is quite right. It just lost. It's a bit loud in play. Well, a bit quiet in places, I thought. But in general, a very good track. I'd love to hear more. I'm sure that all three acts so far may be one or two songs away from the song that they're writing, because they all seem to be in the right sort of trajectory for I'm very impressed. Well done, Singapore.
Okay, and
so far.
And well done to Hijack Haley there on that track. Craig Leon.
I like this one too, as well. I think it needs an intro. That would be the biggest thing that I was talking about. It started straight off with the vocal, which I think might be difficult for radio. Maybe not anymore. But the singer grew on me very much as it went on, but you had to hear through it to actually find it. Once I got a hold of the voice, there's an actual really great vocal presence there that you could bring out that's really good. But they have, again, going back to an intro, they had so many good riffs that they could have started off something with. Every time they had a in between, like every re-intro, any re-intro would have been great and actually developed through the verses, and even more so in the choruses. And so it's just a question sometimes of going to something somebody has way at the end of a track and saying, no, that's what you should be starting with. And that's the starting point. And this is another one of those. It's another one that's a really great effort.
Okay. And Barry Upton.
Okay, so a good track, a very good chorus. I thought the verses need a little bit of work on the songwriting, so maybe they need to work with a professional songwriter who can develop that and make that verse build up to the chorus a lot better. It does need a hook, and am I right in thinking it's called Counterparts?
Yeah, Counterpart. I never heard that in the song. And really and truly, if that's the title, that's what I want to hear, especially from a radio point of view or from an international point of view. You've got to have something that everybody can hang their hat on when they hear the song. The drums and bass were great. Guitar solo was okay. So they're good musicians. If they look good, then they've got a head start. As far as the vocal is concerned, this is where you need a producer like any of the guys on the panel today, right? We know how to blend the vocal to the backing track and make it right, and it's a really fine line. Sometimes that vocal was drowned a little bit. Other times it was a bit detached. It was just a little bit too far above it. So a good producer is what they need, and they're not, again, like we said with the other two, they're not far away from having a very, very good single. Okay. And Charles Foskett?
I agree with everything that's been said, really. It's empty minds, empty spaces. Lyrics kind of jumped out, and lyrics seem to disappear in the actual overall power of the track. But the track to me sounded great. There was some great stops and starts, and then every time it started, it went poof, it kind of smacked you in the face. It was like a great surprise. The guitar riffs were cool. As Craig said, there was plenty of options throughout the song instrumentally that would have made a good intro. I mean, what, 6 bars, 8 bars, 4 bars, something on the front that just goes, bang, here I am, and then the song. But generally, I really enjoyed it. The energy, the whole...
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smash it.
And also from an airplay perspective, yes, do you know, my only thing with it was that it felt a little bit generic, a little bit like many other bands in sound. And Steve, you wanted to come in on that?
No, it's a little Foo Fighters.
It is, isn't it?
In its sonic thing, you know.
And they need to
sort of, it's the double-tracked electric guitars just left and right. Sometimes, you know, that for me, I don't do that to make, you know, and
yes.
But yeah, only little problems though. We've not heard anything yet that.
Oh no, I completely agree, Steve. Absolutely, completely agree. From and that was actually quite a polished. You know, the overall sound is very polished. But I am saying though that I think it's important that with everybody they have their own thumbprint on their own songs and their own sound, and it's difficult when they sound generically like other bands as well. I like them. You know, that's what was great about Bellied Star, although the production wasn't quite in the same vein. The fact that there was that real raw, punchy feel to it that they owned, and this didn't quite have that for me.
You could get that if with production and
of course,
and that's what we all do, is
exactly.
try to get identity to the band that we're working with that's way different than anybody else's.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes we actually succeed at it, so that's good.
Absolutely.
This one needs something like that, but it's very close on its own.
Absolutely. Spot on there, Craig. Thank you. Okay, now let's move on to the next artist. This is Blood on the Disco Floor by Intermission. Blood on the Disco Floor, and that was Intermission. And I have to say, before we even say anything, I've got messages coming in saying that people loving this. It's a bit... Oh, that message has just gone. I picked it up on my screen here. That it is a bit Mekon's Jonathan Richman era. Right, Craig, would you like to go first on this?
Yeah, that's my kind of record. I like that very, very, very much. And it's good to see that the tradition of corporate toil, and I was mentioning Zircon Lounge,
Yes.
and all of those type of acts is still there in Singapore. This is really a unique sound. We're talking about people having a unique sound. It's a little like the Mekons and such, but it has a unique sound, and it's definitely their own. I love the offbeat nature of it. I love how they took this little offbeat thing that you think is quite funny when it comes in with the guitar just going, and then at the end they turned it into a big production on the last couple of bars of the record. It was really cool. It doesn't need a lot for me, to do what it's supposed to do. And it could go to another level in recording, but I think you'd have to preserve a lot of what's there because it's a very unique sound, and I like it a lot. It's simple as that.
Okay, and gosh, I've got messages coming in from Singapore saying that people are loving the fact that that we're giving constructive feedback to all of this. Lovely. Barry Upton, would you like to go next?
Hey, this is a band I would love to go and see. I think they've got humour, and I love a bit of humour and a bit of interesting musicality. So therefore, I would say I think they've been listening to a bit of Frank Zappa, which is not a bad thing because he had all of those kind of things within his music. And I thought it's a great intro, and the whole thing made me smile. The lead breaks were just fantastic. I love hearing something like that that's a little bit different, not just a straight guitar solo. But I really do think they'd be great visually live. The only criticism I would make on it is that the lead vocal was great, but I wanted to hear it that little bit clearer. So maybe the EQing on the vocal wasn't quite right. And maybe a little bit top end just to bring it out so that you could hear every syllable, every word much clearer. But that's my favourite so far.
But we couldn't miss the hook, could we, there, of Blood on the Dance Floor?
Exactly. There you go.
Steve Lillywhite.
Blood on the disco floor.
Oh, yes, you know what I mean. I was close.
Well, it's always a very fine line between a novelty record and something that, and I think they actually tread the line very well with this because it's not a novelty record. It's a record that stands on its own, but it has a sort of fun novelty factor about it. So, but, sometimes if it's too much of a novelty thing, it doesn't have legs and it doesn't last for very long. But it's very good. I got a little annoyed the second time round when they did the the little intermittent guitar riffs. I'm not sure if that was as strong as it sounded a little improvised. If they just put a little bit more thought in what they filled those holes with, because it could have been that was a moment that they could have really done a little bit more than just put those tiny little guitar fills in. But other than that, I thought it was very good. Again, another completely different style of music, and it's a real band playing real music, and I tell you what, it's rock music you can dance to.
Yes.
Which doesn't happen very often.
Absolutely. And Charlie Foskett.
I absolutely loved it. Yes, the guitar licks, novelty record. I get that what Steve's saying, but I disagree. They were my favorite guitar solos of all time. It was absolutely wonderful. Initially I thought, oh yeah, it's kind of Johnny Rotten or David Burns singing with Talking Heads, and the Jonathan Richman thing I got. I just loved the whole thing. A great vibe and punchy sort of track. Disco floor, dance floor, whoever's floor you want to dance on, you could dance on to it with it. Thumbs up.
Wonderful. Okay.
Title of their genre. Yeah, it's great.
They're great records.
Yes, I have to say I would play that every morning. I liked that, but I do agree. Maybe something unexpected in the second bits of quirk, and that would nail it. That would absolutely work. I also really loved the fact that, guys, you brought in some Tagalog. Linguistically in there, a touch of was it? I think Malaysian I could hear in there or something. It was fantastic. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Would I play that? Yeah, every morning, guys, definitely. Right, and they did. I don't have a biog actually about them. We just know they're pretty quirky and pretty out there. So that was Intermission with Blood on the Disco Floor. Right, next artists are, this is an unusual name. This is Ultra Mega Cat Attack. That's the name of the band. Otherwise known as UMCA, UMCA. And the track is called Stay Go. Ultra Mega Cat Attack with Stay Go. And I'll just give us all a little bit of background about them in a sec as well. Interestingly, they did exactly what we were saying the previous band needed to do, which was have the things slightly different every time on the chorus or a bit more quirk. So they are called Ultra Mega Cat Attack, UMCA for short, and they're here to dance and rock out. They formed in 2020. The Singaporean alternative rock sextet quickly gained the attention of the scene by becoming one of the top 5 global finalists for a Musicians Wanted competition that same year, and serving as harbingers of their upcoming debut album, they 009. This track is Stay Go. So, Steve, would you like to go first?
Yes. I got a bit of Kids in America, a bit of Kim Wilde. You know, it had that sort of joyfulness that that Kim had on that record. So again, it's, you know, it's charming. It's very well produced. Actually, I love the sound was very good. I could hear all the instruments. The drumming was really good. Actually, I've got to do a shout out for the drummer on that song. And oh my God, I can't believe, you know, if anyone's listening in Singapore, I'm normally the guy who is, you know, I'm pretty hard on music.
He's so miserable.
I have to say, I'm trying to find things that I don't like about it, and I'm not really finding very much. I mean, all of these songs have been great, so there's not been anything that I've found that doesn't have a good redeeming quality. They're all very varied. She's got a cute voice.
Yes.
You know, again, something worth checking out, something to keep following.
Thank you, Steve. Charles Foskett.
I agree with Steve to a great extent. I can see the Kim Wilde, Blondie sort of vibe going on. The drums, Clem Burke. It was just very incessant and very timekeeping was great. B-52s.
I was just going to say B-52s. Absolutely.
With distortion. Yeah, I mean, I just went back to 1978 with a touch of Blondie there, and I think, yeah, catchy vocals, great chorus. Stay, go. It did it for me.
Wonderful.
Fabulous.
Okay, Craig Leon.
Yeah. You're mentioning one of my old clients. They sounded a lot like that, which I think is really good. But they had their own identity. It's I like the singer a lot. The quirkiness was developed, and I think I wonder if it's going to be the nature of Singapore hard quirky bands that they all stop. They do stop and starts and the choruses. But this one was good, and they did a trick which actually is on some of the old Blondie stuff, is that after the breakdown they sped up the sound of the record. They either sped up, the drummers sped up, maybe by accident,
yes.
But if not, they sped up what was going on behind it, so it actually had momentum going on towards the end. So it's a pretty well constructed record the way that it is.
Absolutely.
Again, like Steve, I'm going like, well, what could you do? You could do a couple of things that are maybe different. You could do a little bit of strangely enough, less power guitar in the choruses, believe it or not, and something else, but or something again quirkier with it. But that's really nitpicking. I like this one a lot as well.
Great.
Like all of them.
Okay, thank you.
Finding one.
Thank you, Craig Leon. Parry, Upton.
There's nothing wrong with this song, really, from a radio point of view. It's got everything there. It's a good sound. It's got a good chorus. If I was going to be producing this and I was going to make it better, so this is constructive criticism, there's two things I would do, and that's on the stay and the go. They were a little bit clipped, so it's almost difficult to hear what they were saying. So if it was more like stay, or instead of stay, like that, and then go, it's just a personal thing, but I wanted to hear the stay and the go, and that's a good hook then for the chorus, and it makes it better for radio. You're not struggling to hear what they're saying. Okay. The only other thing I would do, and this could be general really for all of these Singapore acts, is at the moment they're sounding like good Western acts. Now, why not give it a little bit of a Singapore feel and maybe put a bit of a Chinese hook in there somewhere, and just make it, this is from Singapore. So therefore, it has an identity. And at the moment, like that song, that could come from anywhere in the world. It's not a bad thing. As I say, it's well produced and it's a good sound, good vocal. But if there was just a little Chinese lick in there somewhere, just to give it a Singaporean feel. That's just me.
Okay, possibly. Well, I mean, I've got to say, I absolutely loved that. I loved the fact that it made me smile all the way through, and I knew when the stay, go were coming, and that's quite special in a song, I think, when you know that's happening, because it gives you an element of fun as well. I think anyway. Would I play that? Yes, I would. But do bear in mind, of course, Singapore is incredibly international. Chinese is not the only language. There's Chinese, there's English, there's Tamil, there's Malaysian, there's so many languages. So it's quite difficult to encompass all of that in one song, I think. Steve?
Can I just ask a question,
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Because I don't know if our Singapore listeners know this, but you do a fantastic Singapore accent. Could you just give us a little bit so they can
Hi,
hear?
alright. Because I got to grow up in Singapore, I talk like that. In Singapore, you don't talk like that. You don't get in taxi cab and they rip you off, man. You got to talk like that. Always happen. Stephen, you go make me bad girl talk like this on radio, TV, everything, man. What? Anyway, so. Hiya. So I'm going to.
Can we add subtitles, please?
You don't need. Listen, my lovely listeners in Singapore certainly don't need subtitles. I grew up there. I love it there, and yeah, I'm a Tanglin girl, guys. Anybody listening there? So let's move on to another band. This is Bakers in Space. I just love these names. And this is Fools and Liars.
Start out faster, like the buses that drive offline, yeah. Have them come on down, these fools just wanna be fooling around. And lately, she wants to be a lady, her thoughts are going crazy. The lights go out, what stress are you going on stressing about? Looking outside to the moonlight through the window, lay on the pillow, approach the bouncer, unknown announcer. This isn't your night, you're going to like those rainbow pills aren't gonna save you. Leave your teeth here, even better on the counter. Won't walk away from stranger danger. Drink cider only 'cause she sits beside you. Only 'cause she sits beside you.
Well, that is Bakers in Space and Fools and Liars. Barry Upton, would you like to go first?
Yeah, a very well played track, good musicians and some nice ideas. I did like the change when it went to reggae, but it would have been nice if they'd gone back into the original and not just finished there. I felt that it finished a little bit too quickly, which is a good thing because that means I wanted to hear some more. I love the riff at the beginning. I think that really grabbed me. So ultimately, I'm just a little bit confused as to what their point is and who they're trying to target with this. And as producers, but one thing that a lot of bands don't understand, they just make it for their friends or it's what they feel that they should make. But you do have to have an audience out there that you're targeting in some way or another. So if it's a little bit confusing, that's not such a great thing. And maybe they should just put a little bit more thought into a direction.
Okay. I'm aware we've got another 5 acts to go after this, and we're already 6 minutes past 8 a.m. here in the UK. Charles Foskett.
I kind of agree with both of those guys. Initially, I thought the intro was too long. Okay, for a live gig, you can play that for half an hour to get everybody jumping around before the song comes in. The second time around, I liked the high octave guitar coming over the thing. And then that break into the reggae thing, I just thought, whoa, what's happening? I loved it, except the drummer didn't play a reggae groove. Had he done that, it would have been much more sexy. The vocal reminded me a bit of Billy Bragg, actually. And I wanted to hear more.
Okay. And Craig.
Yeah, I like this one as well. I'm very impressed with this run of the last 3. I like the riff very much at the beginning, and it's all through. I was trying to remember what riff it actually is from something else, and I don't think it is, which is what's really nice. It sounds familiar, and it wasn't. I love when it broke down to the. I thought that was more music hall and Kinks. Than reggae, but maybe because the drums weren't playing reggae. Okay. But overall, a very, very good effort.
Okay, and Steve Lillywhite.
What I love about records when I love to be surprised in, I didn't know what was going to happen next. It was really good. And he did sound a little like a more loungy version of the Arctic Monkeys.
Interesting you say that, Mike, because...
Steve.
Sorry, Steve. Sorry, it's one of the names I've got on here in front of me. I do apologise. Steve Lillywhite, that was it. We'll come back to you just 1 second, Steve, because what you've just said about the Arctic Monkeys, their influences range from bands like the Arctic Monkeys, Foals, Radiohead, Bombay Bicycle Club, and all along those lines. Okay, sorry, Steve, back to you there.
No. Well, great. Those are great bands to be influenced by, but they sort of have their own sound as well.
Yes.
It wasn't like a pastiche of the Arctic Monkeys. That was the, again, it's one of those bands I would love to hear more from.
Yes.
Wonderful. Very good. Very good.
Yes. I loved that change as well, actually. Nice way to showcase yourselves, I think, as well. Bakers in Space. I also like the name, Bakers in Space. It's great. Would I play that on air? Yes. Again, we would. This is real quality stuff coming out from Singapore. I love it. Okay, now we have got next band or artist, let's just have a look here, is Coming Up Roses with Don't Let It Break Your Heart. Don't Let It Break Your Heart is the name of that track, and the band are Coming Up Roses. They are a female-led indie alternative rock quartet, and they are from Singapore, currently studying in London. And Craig, would you like to go first?
No, I
Go to Craig.
wanted to. He can do it.
Yes.
It's okay. I'm astounded by the overall quality of all of these bands. This when it first came on, I was like, oh no, we've had all these punky things, and is this going to be too normal? And it wasn't too normal. If anything, it owes its roots, so to speak. To me, it sounds like David Bowie Heroes, of course, and there's elements of that you would bring, that you could kind of nick and bring into this to make it move on a little bit better. If it had some kind of a pulse underneath that continued from the verses, from the intro into the verses, it would be good. And I couldn't hear the lyrics very much, so I don't know that much about what the song's about. Maybe it's just my ears at this hour.
No.
But the pulse underneath would be really good. And I really liked her voice as well. So and the pulse wouldn't have to be a synth. If it's not a synth band, it'd be really nice to try something like that with guitar with effects.
Okay.
That kept that kind of semi-quaver thing going on.
Okay.
I'm over.
Okay, Steve Lillywhite.
Yeah, I got a little, obviously I started singing Linger, the Cranberries song over the course, which was, but I did not hear musical hook on there. I mean, the intro was just the same chord sequence, and it went through, and there was no top line melody over the guitar intro, really. I didn't hear that. And, to be perfectly honest, it's not, because it sounds very much like the Cranberries. I would also put in like a Snow Patrol, that sort of mid-tempo chugging thing. I don't think they do it as well as the Cranberries or Snow Patrol.
Okay.
It's the first song I've found that is a little generic, and it's a little flat all the way through. Nothing really came out. It was nicely played, and she has a beautiful voice. There's no question about that. I just feel that it was a bit by numbers.
Okay.
Just a little bit compared to all the others. But, on another day, that could very well be one of the better ones.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Chaps, I have to hurry us along a little bit. Charles Foskett.
Straight away, I thought I was listening to Keane. I was waiting for the vocal. I'm thinking, it's going to be Tom Chaplin. And then I got this, all those kind of background delayed guitars and the descending chord lines. It's got to be Keane, of course. And then she started singing, and I just thought it was lovely, warm, vibed vocal. And I enjoyed it.
Marvellous. And Barry Upton.
We're all making these comparisons, and I straight away wrote down Snow Patrol meets the Cranberries, and I didn't think it was a bad thing, because I have had a lot of success with merging two different sounds together, like ABBA and techno, or country and something or other, rock or something. Yeah, country and western. They're the two best forms of music. No, but the thing is if you want to create something new, that's a good way of doing it, is to take two different influences, bring them together and make something new. But you do need to have a finished article, and this song was not the finished article. As has been said before, there was no riff there. You needed a good riff. However, the chorus and the actual title of the song did come out, and it did grab you. So there's a lot of good in this record. It's not quite finished.
I would have to agree with all of you there, with what all of you have said. And but the thing that is just a little bit irritating is the fact that it does remind me so much of the Cranberries, and it does remind me. So, I mean, I was singing the song that you were just mentioning, Steve.
Linger.
Yeah, Linger, as it was going along. And it really is important that I can never emphasize this enough, that people put their own stamp on their own music, their own compositions and their own sound, so that they're identifiable. But would I play it on air? Yes, but I do think that does need something that just makes it much more your own. Coming up, Roses. Next band we have, or artist, I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Is Sungazer Club Mild. I'm guessing that Club Mild is probably the name of the band, and Sungazer is possibly the name of the track. I won't know till we play it. Let's have a look. Or a listen.
Timeline. Your questions got me thinking. Shake me from the prison of my mind. Try to break it up, it starts all over. This is my eternal fight. Owning up to love and being forgiven. When there's no end in sight, I wanna go back and undo the things I've done, hoping to find some forgiveness in my heart. Time don't work like that. I'm just staring at the sun, staring at the Hey there, sun gazer, try to write the story of mine. Running to the sunset, clock running on broken time. Try to break it up, it starts all over. This is my eternal fight. Owning up to love and being forgiven. When there's no end in sight, I wanna go back and undo the things I've done, hoping to find some forgiveness in my heart. Time don't work like that. I'm just staring at the sun, staring at the sun, I wanna go back and undo the things I've done, hoping to find some forgiveness in my heart. Time don't work like that. I'm just staring at the sun, staring at the sun, staring at the
Whew. Well, that was Club Mild. I now know why they're called Club Mild. and Sungazer. Barry Upton, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I love that. That's a great radio record, and it's got some little bit of level 42 in there, if I'm going to make a comparison, but updated. And there's a couple of wishy-washy bits in it early on, which started to make me think, oh no, are they going to go wrong here? But they didn't. And they came back into the funk, and it was great. Only one criticism. It should come with a warning, this track, because they're advocating staring at the sun. Now, this is not a good thing, kid. You have eye protection, all right? I know. I live in a sunny area. And they should know it themselves, living in Singapore. They should know it's very sunny.
Well, there's a lot of monsoon seasons as well. Well, twice a year anyway. And Steve Lillywhite.
Oh, yes. It's not necessarily my favorite style of music, you know. A little...
Club mild?
Club mild. It's a bit Club Tropicana, you know.
Yeah.
I think maybe if they'd sort of maybe made it a bit more like a Wham type song, it may have worked a little bit more. But it worked pretty well. It didn't quite hit the mark for me, though. There's something about it that doesn't make me really want to listen again. But that's just my personal taste.
You know, what did it remind us all of? Is it just me that felt as though
Bruno Mars wrapped around the fingers?
That's
Why?
sorry?
Yeah, it's a little bit Jamiroquai as well.
And there's a little bit of that as well.
Water.
Indeed, it just sounded so much. Chaps, I have made a corporate decision here that we will continue to roll with the show until we play all the artists and select our winner of the morning and of this week, I should say, and play that. So, but Charlie Foskett.
Straight away, I thought, oh, Beach Boys-esque. And then, of course, for the a cappella intro, then that all changed, and it got really dry, punchy, almost sort of SSL, old mix kind of. The breakdown came, and then, as Barry said, you got the wishy-washy. The breakdown, I kind of loved, and it just went into lots of ambient stuff, which created a different sort of magic for the whole thing. And then back end, boof, in your face, really dry. Sometimes a little bit too over compressed for me. I like things to kind of fart around a bit in the mix. But the nice top line melody. Sorry, did I say mix? Apologies. Yes, very canny. Not my thing at all. I'd rather sort of listen to Robert Plant, but there you go. 9 out of 10 for that type of gig, you know.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does.
Good.
Craig Leon.
Yeah, this, like Steve, this isn't a genre that I listen to a lot or that I work in very much. I can only think of one thing that I worked on many years ago. Is I mixed a record. Another club reminds me of it, a band called Kome Kome Club from Japan that I mixed it with. We did a duet album of them and Kid Krill on the Coconuts that reminded me of this. It was that Tropicana kind of like disco feel. But I liked the intro. I'm looking at my notes here. I'd pick up the chorus a little bit rather than have it go down. But again, I'm nitpicking at it, and I'm dealing with a genre that I'm not that familiar with in terms of actually producing. So I'll not make too many comments on it. I liked it overall, you know, but it just isn't my kind of thing.
Well, it's one of those that we have heard so often. It's a style that, I mean, you know, that we have heard many times before, I suppose. I love a bit of funk in a track. I love that. But this just sounded, for me, a little bit too much melodically as well as sonically like other songs. It just feels a bit dated with all of that. So, Saint, I don't doubt you're probably right that it needs, a different type of production on it, possibly. But a bit dated, a bit late 70s, I'd say. Right, I think we're all done on that one, are we? Yes? Okay, let's move on to the next track. We have got... I can just shift that out of the way there. We've got next, we've got Lift Your Eyes, and this is by Lincoln Lim.
When you think that you know everything left to know, when the road that's it is all written in stone, when the life that you lead is a long open book, in moments like this that I finally know that the gold in the air and the summer I smell, it has to make room for the darkness to swell. 'Cause nothing we build is unbreakably strong. This is but a rule in an old witch's song. So I'll stick to the silence and cover my pain. That the world I desire isn't what I have gained. And if ever you question the smile on my face, understand that a man must know his own place. When you think that you left your old worries behind, you look up to see your reflection resign. And the reasons to stay are all frayed in the light, where it's losing your faith or losing your mind. So lift your eyes and pray to the first God you find, and scream it out tonight, and leave it all behind. So lift your eyes and pray to the first God you find, and scream it out tonight, and leave, whoa, leave. So lift your eyes and pray to the first God you find, and scream it out tonight, and leave it all behind. All the blood that you drip on the living room floor, you sit and repeat this is nobody's fault. But the truth is it is, and it's hard to admit, the decisions you made to have come up to this.
Gosh, Lincoln Lim, you made my heart go bumpity bump in there. That was quite something. Charlie Foskett, would you like to go first?
I would very much, and I've got a lot to say about that, but I'll be quick. First of all, the great songwriting. He's telling a story about something worthwhile. It sounds meaningful. The accompaniment is serving the song. The production is not carried away with all kinds of diddly whatever. The great vox, the vocal lyricist, and pray to the first God you find. I mean, the whole thing's, for me, right up my street. Absolutely knockout. I could say tons more to praise this thing, but I'll leave it there. 11 out of 10.
Okay, and Craig Leon.
This is a good one. You wouldn't expect it for me to be saying that, but this reminds me very much of one of my favorite records that's anthemic in Prague, that comes from a folk background. It's a thing called Hymn by Barclay James Harvest. And this reminds me of BJH a lot from when I was putting together their compilation albums for EMI. But in any case, this thing does that, and it has a tremendous voice for this type of thing. The guy is really, really good, and the message is good, and there's a number of things you could build up on that anthemic thing without getting overproduced. But I don't want to get into taking up too much time here. But it's pretty.
It's okay, I'm relaxed now. I'm the boss. We can, we can.
Oh, we can go on a little bit more. No, I won't tell you about when to bring in the echoey drum beat and stuff that would come in later when it gets bigger. But no, I'm just kidding. Okay. It's a good one. It's again very surprising to hear this now. I mean, the record I was talking about is about 35 years old or 40 years old. But here we go.
Well,
what can you say?
Now then, Lincoln Lim is working currently in Amsterdam. And
second hometown these days.
Well, yes, certainly is for you, Craig. You're doing a lot of work there at the moment, I know. And he's setting up a vocal school. And I think he has a Dutch wife, possibly. I'm not sure. Anyway, and I'm just learning as well from somebody in Singapore that this Joe Eads used to sometimes be the only person in a bar that would be listening to Lincoln Lim. Well, Lincoln Lim, my goodness, you've stolen my heart. Steve Lillywhite.
Yeah, so Lincoln Lim is a man's name, right?
Yes,
or is a band?
No,
his name
it's
is
a man.
Lincoln.
His name is Lincoln Lim.
Yeah. He's a beautiful voice. He has a lovely voice. I would think he sounds like he's got some age. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. It's like a 20-year-old wouldn't sing like that. I feel that he's lived a little to get the experience to write the song. But I may be wrong. Again, very nice. It's difficult to have a really big hit in 3/4. But it's good. I mean, it's very good. I mean, and he didn't go into the traditional instruments. I mean, you could have put like accordion or banjo. You could have gone more of a traditional folk route on that, but he didn't. And it sounded good. Very good, yeah.
He is 28 years old. He's actually Singaporean and has a Singaporean wife. They are in Amsterdam at the moment, working, and he would be delighted to fly over to London and play at one of our Dublin Castle events on a Jukebox Judgement event. Well, that's quite something. Who hasn't spoken yet? Please wave your hands at me. Barry Upton.
There's a lot about this to like, and I was really getting into it. And what I really missed, and by the way, Steve, it's not 3/4, it's 6/8. Just a test.
I don't. I've never been able to work out the difference.
I didn't want to be the classic.
There is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm good at counting up with numbers. Now there's
5, 6, 7, 8.
One thing that I would have liked to hear, and that is that 6/8 acoustic guitar, a really nice bright acoustic guitar, would have just made it that little bit better and would have enveloped me a little bit more. I found the guitar was just a little bit dull. The voice was great. I think I disagree with Steve again. I think a little harmonica or an accordion on the link, not all the way through, just on that little first link, I thought that kind of died a little bit. But these are little small points that would just make it even better. The only thing which turns me off a little bit is if you have to lift your eyes up and pray to the first God you see. I don't know. There's something about a couple of those lyrics that kind of made me grind a little bit. Some of the lyrics were great. Some of them didn't rhyme. That's just not a bad thing. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be the moon in June. But just that line kind of turned me off a little bit. But a good sounding track could be, like just about everything else we've heard today, a little bit of tweaking. It's going to be great.
We can't, now listen, we can't do all these regional accents. Listen, everybody's always up for a party on Jukebox Judgement, you know. We've got to calm that one down a little bit right now. So Lincoln Lim, have we all spoken on Lincoln Lim?
I've just Googled him, and of course because I'm thinking Limb.
No,
but of course Lim is a very Singapore name, isn't it?
Of course.
So Lincoln Lim, Lim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just looked at his Instagram page. Looks great. You know, he's got a Richie Havens look about him.
Oh, nice. I'm going to check that out then. Well, Lincoln Lim, but you, as I say, you've just, would I play that? Oh my goodness, yes, I wouldn't just play it. It's interesting because I found myself texting, and we were texting each other, Saint and Steve, and we were all saying, wow, lovely vocal, absolutely stunning vocal.
Great singer.
Really good singer. And, you know, we talk about passion, really piling passion in so that you believe what the singer is singing. My God, that was so much passion in that vocal there. Really well done, Lincoln Lim, with Lift Your Eyes. Let's move on to Suncell. Suncell is Daryl Hor. That's Darryl and HOR, and the track is Coastlines. Suncell, and that is Daryl Hoare, and the track was Coastlines. Craig Leon.
There we go. Yeah, it's the one that I think needs more care in production than what we're looking at now. But in the beginning, I heard, and I said, oh, wait, do they go surfing in Singapore? I have no idea, because it did have that kind of Dick Dale thing going on the guitar and everything, which was nice, which is also with the... I developed vocally. Again, somebody said before that, I think it was Barry, that we had to... You had to bring something out of an artist. And this artist needs a producer who would do that. It's a good basic idea, and it's commercial, believe it or not. But it just needs to be, everything needs to be elevated to another level. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, and Steve Lillywhite.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It didn't. I mean, there's so many records released every week that sometimes you have to stand out from the crowd a little bit. This one, the only thing that stood out for me was actually right on the outro. There was some fantastic weird drum.
Yes.
You're like
drumming.
A toddler.
I mean, it was not in, it was daring. And I feel like this song just didn't have enough daring in it.
Yeah.
It was very safe and very nice. Just that little sign at the end that maybe, that for me was like a wow moment, but it was at the end of the track. And I think by the end of the track,
you've switched off really, because it needs to come in.
I'm not going to listen to it again to hear that bit at the end. You see what I mean?
Yes.
It was good, and it was a good album track, and we should definitely keep an eye on Suncell. But for me, that song didn't do it for me.
Barry Upton.
Well, I totally agree with that. About that, the end section was the bit that was the best thing in it. Actually, no, there were some good guitar sounds, and I did enjoy those at the beginning. But if that ending had been at the beginning, it would have grabbed my attention a lot more. And then, as has been said, the vocals needed to be a little bit more grasping as well. I did find that my mind wandered about halfway through the song, and it came back. They got me again when they put that extra sound in at the end. So maybe they should have put it in the middle, beginning, middle and end, something like that, just to grab your attention and make it a little bit more radio playable. But for me, it meandered a lot, and the guitar sounds were nice, but they meandered.
Okay, Charlie, just before I come to you, I'm just going to read this out here from Daryl Hoare, and it is the solo project of Singapore-based artist Daryl Hoare. Suncell draws from the visceral nature of 80s new wave and post-punk. Well, you could feel that 80s wave there going on. Pairing them with lush soundscapes and catchy guitar riffs to explore themes of yearning, retrospection and melancholia, resulting in the sound that invokes both nostalgia for days gone and a yearning for days to come. Right, so Charlie Foskett.
Melancholia sounds like some kind of medicine. I found the beats just too hard straight away. That snare drum kicked in. I felt like I was being kicked in the gut by a size 15 football boot. The top line melody, the vocal was monotonous. And I thought I'd stick with this. They need help. They need production. The outro, the percussion thing, it sounds like they were throwing a whole bunch of pots and pans down the back stairs. I'm sorry. I've got to be honest about it. It was just, is it going to end yet?
Okay. All right. Has everybody spoken? I think we all have, haven't we, on this track here? So that was Suncell, Daryl Hoare, Coastlines. Daryl, from a radio airplay perspective right now, I would not play that on my show currently, because what you actually need with that is a really good production on it, I think. And as Steve was saying, with regard to the drums that came in, put some stuff in right at the start that catches attention and makes us want to listen to the track right the way through. Now, let's move on to another
Have we got time to pick the favourite?
Not yet. It's okay.
Oh.
We're cool with this. I'm overrunning time.
Okay.
If we overrun by a few minutes, we overrun, and we will continue on air. I made that decision a short while ago, and that's what's going to happen. So this is Glenn Wee. I know. I love being boss lady. It's cool when you're on air. Glenn Wee, and the track is called Carelessly.
See, I told myself it'll never happen this way, 'cause a love like this might lead me astray. Wouldn't hurt if it was just for a day. I was a fool, darling. It's the way your eyes shine me a glimmer, and the way you move is just so familiar. I can hide no more, the truth is I need you. Am I a fool, darling? Well, I carelessly falling for you, I think I've fallen for you. It's funny how our lives are torn without fate. Neither one of us had the patience to wait. But the truth is I've been missing you lately. Am I a fool, darling? 'Cause yes, I carelessly, but yes, I carelessly, yes, I think I've fallen for you. Oh, no.
That was Glenn Wee, and he is a Singapore singer-songwriter. And who would like to go first? Barry.
I really enjoyed that. The only thing is there's too many effects on it. That would sound great. The lead vocals, beautiful, very Aaron Neville-ish, and always been a big Aaron Neville fan. I love the way his voice moves, and there was a little bit of that in there. I loved the whole feel of the song. It was a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning, but that made me listen even more. And the only thing that I would do production-wise is it sounded a little bit murky. The whole EQing of the whole track seemed to lack a little bit of upper mid or top, just a touch to give it a bit more clarity. But I really liked it. I just think that if you took all of the effects off his voice, the effects off of the backing vocals, it would be a really red hot track.
did feel like it was there was a tube sound on it or something, a little bit too much on that vocal.
It was it was effects for effect's sake. You didn't need it.
Can I just ask, did anybody else pick up "Leaving on a Sunday Morning, 'cause I'm leaving"?
No.
Lionel Richie.
It was a touch of the Lionel Richie.
The famous biscuit.
But, well,
Yes.
Steve Lillywhite, would you like to go next?
I would. Why have those finger clicks all the way through? For me, they completely ruined the vibe of the track. You know, all you were hearing was that. And it was, and it wasn't a nice sound. You know, you want to hear a voice and piano, and by those finger clicks was just, they were taking you away from the moment. You know, you need to be right in there listening to the voice, and all you were really listening to was these things. You know, I mean, very simple things sometimes are the easiest things to make a track great. And I would just take out those finger clicks, see where you are, then you can really hone in on the things that are important, which is the voice and piano. Everything else needs to be way in the background, and you can then use those to build and to give a little bit more, more, you know,
Colour and texture.
Yeah. But it was a little flat because it was, I didn't know. It didn't work. He has a lovely voice though, and he will always be able to sing for his supper at the Holiday Inn.
Okay. Craig Leon.
I think it was a really good song, actually. I think he's a little bit more elevated than the Holiday Inn, although there's nothing wrong with singing one. Timmy Thomas used to play at the Airport Inn, and then Why Can't We Live Together came out of that. So, I mean, there's great stars that have been in the Holiday Inn. But in any case, I agree with that. The echoes and the reverb and everything and the finger snaps really bothered me, actually, very similar to Steve. I was thinking, why can't you get rid of those and channel the spirit of Hal Blaine on Pet Sounds and get some really great percussion kind of things going on, like Paul Simon would get. This reminded me of Paul Simon a lot, actually. Okay. And if you do that with that Aaron Neville R&B feel, bring everything down drier to really concentrate on the piano. Go to Tiny Evans and rent Miles Davis's Wurlitzer and put it on this record. You know, it would sound really, really, really good. I think it has a lot of potential. It's just needs production. What
Absolutely.
Can you say? Judicious production as opposed to overproduction. It's almost a case of underproducing it to make it come out right.
Absolutely. Let's get rid of all those effects, the finger clicks. Yeah. Charlie Foskett.
He needs a producer who's going to work with him and not the sounds he thinks are great. The finger snaps. Yeah. I mean, initially I thought, oh, nice. Oh, damn it. And they were just distracting. So we've got rid of those. Just the piano, the vocal. The vocal here, the song, a nice song, the vocal is what it's all about. The vocal could be warmer. It could be more intimate. The guy's a nice singer, but everything comes from the delivery of a vocal. You can get. I've worked with some great singers, and they always, you got so much out of me that well, that's because, you know, there's great power in just a whisper. There's so much you can do with a voice, and I found his voice a little. The timbre of his voice was a little middly, which kind of. I was going to use an expletive there.
No expletives.
What
next?
The sort of middliness was very expletive. I just wanted to sit in the room with him for an hour as he was recording his vocal and go, try this, try that. You know, it's a song. It's a sort of intimate vibe. If you're going to get him, get close mic. Let me hear the breath. Let me hear the sound. It comes out of there. That's not the voice, because that's all part and parcel of it. What creates the magic of a vocal,
of course.
And he's just singing. and he's a good singer. But just singing because you're a good singer isn't enough sometimes, especially on this.
Yes,
That's
of
my
course.
2 penneth. There you go.
Okay, thank you very much for your 20
shut up
minutes
now.
there, Charlie Foskett. And I fully agree. In its current state, it's actually the finger clicking very irritating. Get rid of those, Glenn. I would also say, and now none of us have mentioned the harmonies. The harmonies were actually quite beautiful. The harmonies were something that immediately made me listen to the song and want to listen to it more. But his vocal going through that sort of a very electronic tube sounding effect, that wasn't good. So it needs to be much warmer and much more intimate. But the song itself, I think, is actually a pretty good song. But it did remind me of what do you call it? Sunday morning, leaving on a Sunday morning. Anyway, and this is the final artist. And during listening to this, we then need to select the winner of this week's Jukebox Judgement. This is...
I slip to the humdrum under the white fluorescent light. Erase signs on my glum. Heart is beating out tonight. Purse lips struggle to keep mum. Put out our passion, listen, my there will be some other time. Sign away bits of our lives. Contrast keep us alive. Hands are searing from this drum. Who cares that I am sucked dry? Wake from our drunk stupor. I say we fight, fight, fight against the glorious flight. Keep fingers crossed you will survive. God tells me the meaning of life is that it ends. I went to my grave on white collars, I God tells me meet our minds, animal retirement plans. It goes a footsteps ring in my soul. My name is deep within the headstones of my dreams. Cold dinner in your belly mixed in with cheap stouts. You think you're happy if you tire yourself out. Do you like this or is just an easy way out? Well, it's easy to play victim of thinking in this crowd. Remove the blinkers yourself now. You have the keys to ourselves. What's freedom? We are the only one that's holding yourself down. Wake from our drunk stupor. I say we fight, fight, fight against the glorious flight. Keep fingers crossed you will survive. God tells me the meaning of life is that it ends. I go to my grave on white collared diamonds. God tells me meet our minds, animal retirement plans. It goes a footsteps ring in my soul. My name is deep within the headstones of my dreams. I have small hands, but I want to big things. I let crush lots of fear consume me. There ain't an easy way, but this could be the only kind. God tells me the meaning of life is that it ends. I went to my grave on white collared diamonds. God tells me meet our minds, animal retirement plans. Echoes of footsteps ring in my soul. My name is deep within the headstones of my dreams.
Track was called Kafka. I'm sorry, but the music ran away with me when I with my little mouse, and the band is Tail Drops. Tail Drops are an alternative progressive rock band in Singapore, and their sound is characterized by raw and emotional vocal and guitar lines with groovy rhythms, weaving synths and strings and bass sections to add color and cinematic qualities to their arrangements. And their influences range from progressive rock to classical music. Well, actually, I think that their musicality was very clear in that track there. Steve Lillywhite, would you like to go first on this?
Yeah. Well, she has a lovely voice. I just couldn't hear her.
Yes.
You know, I mean, honestly, it's, and I know this is one thing that you do when you're making records. If you early on, the song when you're mixing it. So you think that the vocal level can be pulled back because you keep hearing it. But the fact is you really need to make sure the voice can be heard. Very few records are ever criticized because the vocal is too loud. Many records are criticized because the vocal is too quiet. And she has a lovely voice. I couldn't hear it. They wanted to make sure that everyone in the band could be heard. But sometimes you need to really, you need to do what's necessary. I mean, again, a very good quality record could be better with the mixing.
Can I ask you, Steve, what did you think of that chorus? What did you make of that chorus?
Well, it was very difficult to make out any words that she was singing. I loved the chorus, though. I mean, there was, what's the name of that song? I didn't quite write it down.
Kafka, and that's the Kafka that was singing through there.
Yeah, something good going on there. But as I say, not presented. I mean, all it needs is to rebalance. The individual sounds are all good, pretty good.
Okay. And Craig Leon?
Yeah, you could just have a mastering engineer. It depends. The song, in principle, the song is really, really good. Her voice is really, really great. You could do a lot with it. It's a question of how much, and this would be the challenge. You rarely get one. I would hear this totally differently in terms of production than what they're actually doing. How much they let somebody do that to their music, I don't know. So I'm not advocating that for anything, but I'm just saying what I would feel. The vocals, the problem is, like everybody's saying, the vocals are too low and you really can't make out what's going on. But musically, there's a kind of, there's a few riffs and a few Middle Eastern sounding things, let's say, that were in there that I would develop a lot. And it works in pop. Well, it worked in pop 500 years ago with the Hollies Stop, Stop, Stop and things like that. But where you could actually put that into a pop record. And I would play that up more, actually. And I would try and develop things more along those lines. And what she's doing in the build up out of the breakdown, there's some really nice vocal things that she's doing as well. And I bring that more of that into that and make it much more of an individualistic sound. Whether they'd want that is another story. But again, all the efforts today have been really, really great, by comparison and taken as a whole.
Okay. And Charlie Foskett.
I agree with most of that. I mean, initially when it started, I thought the vocals sounded really quite cute. I thought the groove was cool. The guitar riff was a bit Batmanish. I like the accents, the augmentation going through, and then it kept, driving on. Piano breakdown built out of that nicely. It sounded like it could be, in a different world, it could be like a Bjork record in vibe. But again, I'm just repeating what the guys are saying. The vocal was buried. Where's that vocal gone? Generally, I thought it was good. But yeah, remix, maybe less fussy on some of the fussy bits they put in.
Okay. And thank you, Charlie Foskett. And Barry Upton.
Yeah, what everybody else has said. It's not well produced. It's not a good mix. There's a really good song waiting to break out of that, and so I really do believe that if it was in that, if the band weren't there, if there was someone outside the band is mixing it, I would hedge a bet that all the band were in the studio and they all were pushing up there. They all wanted to hear their bit a little bit louder. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there. And the worst thing you can have is a band in the studio. You've got to mix it with them. Go and tell them to go over the pub and then come back when it's finished. You know, that's what this is lacking, is somebody who's outside of the band who can fashion the sounds together, bring the vocal up, as everybody said, make it into a record that people could listen to.
Absolutely. Yes. And I have to say, I fully agree there. I have to also say that the level, the vocal level definitely needs to be up higher without any shadow of doubt. And I love I love your analogy just there, Barry, where you've said everybody's in the studio. Yes, we have all been there. And do you know, my other personal tip I would say as well is, don't mix it when you've just been finishing hearing the music for hours and hours and hours. Go away, come back the next day. Well,
I have a very quick story.
Yes.
Early on in my career, I would never say to a band, don't be here when we're mixing, because it's their record. So it's important. But I did say, I'm going to start mixing this record at 6 a.m. Whoever wants to come to the studio at 6 a.m. And it was a band called the Psychedelic Furs. I got there at 6 a.m. One member of the band decided to come, which was great. By 9 a.m., when everyone was starting to wake up, we'd already done like one song. It was a fantastic. I only ever did that once in my career, but you know, I know you said go away and mix it again, but sometimes the mix that you do as you're building everything up is always something that has some very good clues as to how it should sound.
Oh yes, indeed. But there is ear fatigue as well sometimes, and you know, how many times do we hear stuff as Barry was just saying, where the levels go up and up and up and up, and you kind of lose sight of where it should be. Well, that was Tail Drops with Kafka, and Tail Drops.
T-A-L-E, or I've just been googling them.
T-A-L-E-D.
I put T-A-I-L. T-A-L-E.
It is now time for us to select the winner. We each have to decide which is our winner of Jukebox Judgement from Singapore. Oh, and secondly, hang on one sec. Steve's putting his finger up there. Yeah. The other thing is, by the way, that it is the last day of Chinese New Year. So I can say Kong Yi Fa Choi, but also Huata. And that's it. Yes, Steve.
Can I just say that, you know, I'm going to, if you've got your pen ready, would I recommend that each of us can give 3 songs that we want to, because I thought there were so many good ones that if you write each one down, and then the one that has accumulated the most points out of the 3 that we all give, I think that might be a fairer way of doing it than just
Dawn's going to add up.
Is that?
There you go.
Oh, you know what? I know about those weird time signatures. I've got one that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know 7.
7 well.
That's 7, 8. Yeah.
That's 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Jethro
5, 6,
Tull used
7,
to use it
1,
a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, chaps, come on, let's pull ourselves together here. And Steve, I think that is a great idea. 3 each.
Yeah. Okay. I will go. Let me start. I'll start with Bellid Star, if you mind. I'll do Blood on the Disco Floor by Intermission. And I will do Lift Your Eyes by Lincoln Lim.
Those are the exact same 3 as mine.
Oh,
absolutely wow. The same. Charlie Foskett.
Yeah. Well, where's it gone? First and foremost, I mean, for me, being a songwriter and a bit of a growler, it had to be about the song and
come on, then which one?
Serving the song.
Hurry up! Come on.
It's got to be the guy. What's his name? Lift Your Eyes Up. Yeah.
Lincoln Lim.
Lincoln Lim. Yeah. The sun gives I liked, what was the other thing? There was 2 or 3 others.
Yeah, you have to choose 3,
Okay.
Charlie.
Go back to
Yes,
Charles
it-
when he's ready.
Just one if he
Come
wants to.
back to Charlie.
Okay.
one of the earlier ones. Come back to Charlie.
Okay. Barry Upton.
Okay, I've got 3 at 8 points, which I've given. Sun Gazer is one of mine, and the other 2 are Intermission and Ultra Mega Cat Attack.
Oh, yes, they were good too. Okay, so Intermission, Umka, and what was the first one, sorry?
Sun Gazer.
With Club Mild. Okay.
Club Mild, yeah. Sun Gazer.
Okay, and Craig.
It's Intermission, Umka, and we're all getting the same here. Lincoln Lim, with honorable mention to Bakers in Space. I had 4.
Oh, against the rules.
Oh, too bad.
You broke the rules.
3's enough. Just do the first 3.
Okay. Well, Charlie, are we coming back to you? Come on.
Yeah. The Cat Attack was the third one. So, but the Lift Your Eyes was number 1 in my
Well,
book.
I have to say that that Lift Your Eyes is the winner in this instance. And Steve, you wanted to add something?
No. All I want to say is that very proud of Singapore for some very good quality music. I know it's a difficult place to be a band, especially because no one has space to be able to rehearse. It's very difficult, and there aren't that many places to play. So well done for being creative and artistic, Singapore. Well done.
Yes, and I think that I think we've managed to hear what Singaporean artists can do, what they can bring to the table, but also why other countries deserve international exposure. And Lincoln Lim, you are this week's winner. Lincoln Lim from Singapore, who's opening a can of Pepsi somewhere. There was a strange sound there. And we're going to listen again and play out from all of us. I'm going to say thank you so much to listening to Jukebox Judgement with me, Dawn Parry here, and Steve Lillywhite. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody, and good to see you. Nice to meet you, Charlie. Good to see you, boys.
We've met before.
Thank you very much. You have met before, have you?
Have we? Where did we meet?
On here.
Oh, yes, of course you
Have we
have.
done another one?
Yes, we did.
We
A
did? Oh,
few
God.
months ago. Charlie Foskett,
Friday
thank you very
Frolics.
much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Craig Leon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to be here.
And Barry Upton, thank you so much for joining us.
It was an honour to be chosen for your very, very proud moment of presenting Singapore.
Thank you very much for that, Barry. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. We are playing out with Lift Your Eyes by this week's winner on Jukebox Judgement here on 365 Radio. This is by Lincoln Lim.
When you think that you know everything left to know, when the road that's it is all written in stone, when the life that you lead is a long open book, in moments like this that I finally know that the gold in the air and the summer I smell, it has to make room for the darkness to swell. 'Cause nothing we build is unbreakably strong. This is but a rule in an old witch's song. So I'll stick to the silence and cover my pain, that the world I desire isn't what I have gained. And if ever you question the smile on my face, understand that a man must know his own place. All the blood that you drip on the living room floor. You sit and repeat, this is nobody's fault. But the truth is it is, and it's hard to admit. The decisions you made to have come up to this.